So let's begin on the AM radio tuner. The simple AM radio tuner just needs to know what station we're on, and the operators are going to be to tune it up or tune it down. Really, that's all there is going to be to it. So for instance, the minimum station value is going to be 530, and the maximum station value is going to be 1700. And you've probably not dealt with AM radio, or if you have, it's been a long time. The AM radio stations are in multiples of 10. So 530 is the lowest AM station, 540, 550, 560. The behavior of the tune-up button should be pretty standard, except for when you reach the highest radio station possible, which in our case is 1700. So if I am tuned to 1700 and I push up, it's just going to be ignored. Similarly, when you're tuning down, the tuning down button decreases the radio station by 10 unless you get to that lowest possible station at 530, and then you push the button and it just doesn't do anything. So here as a graphic, if I'm looking at my radio and I am at 1690 and I push up, I should get to 1700. But if I'm at 1700 and I push up again, nothing happens. Similarly, if I'm at 540 and I push down, then I should be at 530. But if I'm at 530 and I push down, I should still be at 530. Some stations, some radios will loop around from the bottom to the top. That could be something that you implement if you'd like. Definitely possibility, but for simplicity, I'm just having you ignore the presses if you're already at the end of the dial. So how do we code this? We're going to use something called the model view controller approach, and you're already actually familiar with much of this. In the view, those are the things that the user sees. The user sees the current station that we're dialed to. They see any of the text that we've put into views. And with the controller, those are the things the user uses. And in our case, on an FM or AM radio, the user uses the tune down button and the tune up button in order to change what they see. So the only part that's really not, that we haven't really worked with before is called the model. And the model, how it interacts with the view and controller, the model updates the view, and this would be in the case of mstation.setText to 1710. So anytime that the model wants to change what's shown on the screen, that's updating the view. And then the other way is when the controller passes the message along to manipulate the model. So in this case, when the controller calls the on-click listener to do whatever the up button does to the model when someone clicks it. So to begin, really, let's just code this thing. Let's make the interface. I've provided with you the strings that I intend to use. The only weird ones are ampersand LT semicolon and ampersand GT semicolon. LT stands for less than, GT stands for greater than. And this comes from the land of HTML. Because we use less than and greater than signs as part of the code here, we can't like put a less than sign in the code because the less than sign has special meaning. So we use these placeholders, ampersand LT semicolon and ampersand GT semicolon, to represent less than and greater than signs on our buttons. So start making this app. I'm going to call it AM Radio, so I'm going to go to File, New, Android Application Project, AM Radio, and if you're in my class, it's com.moixland. And to make matters easy, we're just going to start everything at 16. We don't need an icon. We don't need no stinking icon. And I'm going with a blank activity. Now, if you're using the older version of Eclipse that doesn't really make real blank activities, you'll need to take out your fragments. There's a video on my website for that. So instead of calling this main activity, I'm going to call this like tune activity because we're making a radio tuner, and that should automatically say activity tune for you. I'm going to finish and see what it gives me. Under here, I get a Hello World app. Under my values, I have strings. And then under my source, under my package, I have my Java file. So as usual, you're going to have your tune activity, you're You're going to have your strings, and you're going to have the one XML file under your layout for the app. If you have two and one of them's talking about a fragment, stop here, go take out your fragments, come back.